to this day, you can drive through what's called the terminal moraine. It's actually all the rocks that were snow plowed by the glacier.
Ben,
Yeah. Oh,
the
hey, John.
goal of Coffee Talk is to get more viewers, not less.
Well, I mean, Maria is an intelligent person who appreciates things like geology, so I wanted to share.
You do know that I have a degree in geophysics, right?
Get out of here.
Yep. So that's why I'm
Oh.
saying, no, don't do that to me. I had to go through that in school. That's why I went into lighting. So I didn't have to look at any geology maps anymore.
All right, well, forget you geology haters. We'll get back to lighting.
Maria, we're really glad to have you on today. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, guys.
So, Maria, I know, like last time I saw you, you were in New York, but then you moved on to the United Arab Emirates to work with CD+M. But then you give me a call and you're telling me you're in Florida. So
yeah.
What happened?
Maria, tell us about this situation, because I think this is one of the not the best, but most interesting situations I've heard yet. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what happened is I effectively moved to Dubai in December. I was about 3.5 months there. I was planning on coming to Florida anyway because I had to finalize my move. I have a bunch of stuff still here in a storage unit. And it turns out that the week I chose to travel here was the week when most of the countries closed their borders. And so I was stuck in Florida only 3 months after moving to the UAE. So, I think the US didn't want to let me go.
So, I mean, working remotely can be kind of from anywhere, but it's got to be a big challenge with the time difference because you're managing a whole team over there. What is it actually like to deal with that time difference and that distance while managing?
Well, for me, it's definitely challenging, but having been, part of HLB, who is a firm that has a really good handle on teleworking, gave me a big advantage. And knowing how to telework. When I was there, I actually teleworked for about 1.5 months from Australia, and we managed to get through a couple of projects with no problem. The time difference is not as critical between the US and the UAE as it is between the US and Australia, but what's interesting also is the week in the UAE starts on a Sunday and it ends on a Thursday. So when and I'm staying at my in-laws, so when I have to work on a Sunday, everybody here is like completely asleep.
I'm glad you said that because I was kind of interested to see where you were staying right now, because that's.
Yeah, I'm actually staying at my in-laws, so I have a really cozy corner, no room, an air mattress. And right now I'm sitting in front of the kitchen. So this I've reclaimed as my little office space. So that's my life. It's been my life for the past 2 months.
So has the logistics of working remotely and with a team far away changed your ability and the team's ability to actually do design work?
In a way, yes. The team over there wasn't really used to the idea of teleworking. So when we started even evaluating the possibility, because of all the changes that COVID-19 were, forcing us to take on, most of them had a lot of doubts in whether they would be able to work from home. But I think that they quickly understood that it's not only possible, but it has its advantages. Some of the designers have already told me that sometimes they feel like they can achieve a lot more working from home that they can working from the office. And it's simply because, even though you think that you have more distractions at home, you actually don't have as many as in the office. It has had a little bit of impact in terms of how we do meetings. Of course, we all have had to find creative ways in which we can express ideas, especially when we are, discussing project concepts and things like that. We research for pictures just to express ideas, or, we try to sketch in the computer, which sometimes can be a little tricky. So we've definitely found new ways in which we do the work that we do.
You're using images to communicate ideas. Are there any other tools or tricks that you guys have learned to collaborate better?
Well, there's this thing that Teams has is a whiteboard, because one of the things that I do miss a lot about, being face to face is, like you say, collaborating and then just sketching ideas and just putting them in front of each other and complementing our inputs, right? So we've used these tools like the whiteboard where we can collectively sketch ideas. In the recent days, the UAE has started reopening a few businesses, and they have allowed people to go out in the street a little bit more. So we are testing, going back into the office in a slow process. We're just bringing designers in like 2 at a time or something like that, so that we can still keep the distancing policies, but at the same time we can still have this communication and this collaboration that we need for certain projects. And we are giving the designers sort of the freedom to choose what days they really feel like they have to come in, and what days they feel more comfortable working from home. Also, what their projects require. If the projects are fine with them working remotely, we're okay with that. If they feel like they need to be in the office for a specific collaboration or meeting, then we will allow for that, making sure that they are safe and protected.
What are the main differences you see in how things are being handled because of this virus between, where your office is and where you are now? Because you have probably a great insight into both. What are you seeing the contrast there?
The UAE wasn't really into this, teleworking and teleconference things. We obviously had conference calls, but if you were in the city and if you had an office close to your client, you would definitely go and visit them. When I was working in the US, we definitely used a lot the conference calls to work out issues that we didn't necessarily thought were necessary to meet in person. We try to utilize our time very carefully, because time is money, right? So in the UAE, there was a little bit more of that intention to really meet in person. And every time that we had a conversation with clients, or that wasn't something quick and easy, we would definitely meet with them. So when this whole thing started with the virus, a lot of people were basically just wondering, like, are we going to be able to do this? Are we going to be able to, to meet, to have our conferences, our design sessions? The dynamic has definitely switched. People have realized that they can do this, even with the distancing, that they can have this conversation even through these powerful tools like Zoom and Teams. Something quite interesting that one of my directors told me recently is that most of the times when they had an issue in site, they would, grab their boots and just go to site. It's pretty much a given, right? And suddenly they realized that many of these issues that they would go to site to fix, they could actually fix them on a conference call. It's like, okay, you have a smartphone, turn the camera, show me what's the problem. I'll guide you through it, and I'll give you, my thoughts, or I'll call somebody else. We'll bring them into this call. And so suddenly there was this change also in the industry, where we're starting to realize that all these issues that we would go to site to fix are definitely fixable remotely, that we don't always have to be there present. So it's just, I don't know, it's just the culture. They
That's
are
really interesting.
that kind of, I guess the kind of culture where you really need to be a little bit closer, I guess. And email is not close enough.
But so do you think that these changes you're talking about are going to be permanent, or do you think, like here in the US, where some people feel that things are going to go back to the way they were? Do you, like I said, do you think this is going to keep going that way and those changes will hold, or do you think it'll go back?
No, I think it will definitely go back to, let's call it normal, right? I definitely think that people, especially now in the UAE, they're craving to not only go back to work, but also to get to meet family and friends. In the UAE, measures like social distancing measures were taken a lot earlier. So they were already implementing some of these measures way before I got stuck here in the US. And people, I think, are starting to feel it. They're starting to feel that necessity to go back to normal. So I definitely think that things will go back to normal. That being said, I do feel from conversations that I've had with the designers and the directors, that they've realized all of these tools that we have available to us. So I think that what's going to happen is they're going to take some of the best things of this situation, this learning process that we've had to become more productive from home, and to have this ability to telework and to communicate at a distance, and just bring it into our normal day-to-day. But I don't think that it's going to become the day-to-day moving forward.
Have you heard or seen of any changes to projects out there because of the lower oil prices? I would expect Dubai to be affected by the change in global oil prices.
Surprisingly not. The projects in Saudi Arabia did get a little bit delayed for a couple of months. And I think most of what will happen is that a lot of the projects that will come from Saudi Arabia may be affected. I don't see, or I haven't seen so far, the price of oil affecting the projects in the UAE. And like I said, I think it's because this year is an interesting one because of these, government funded projects that want to be done by 2021. After 2021, we'll see what happens.
You lived in New York for a long time, so you had access to all sorts of fantastic things in New York.
Yes.
You lived in Dubai, and I'm sure there's a lot of cool stuff in Dubai. Now you're stuck in your in-laws' place in Orlando. What do you miss most?
My room. Having a room of my own and my bed. Quite honestly, that's all I miss.
Yeah, I've been fantasizing about getting on an airplane, which I never thought I'd ever have.
I know, right?
That and some really good Chinese food. How about you, John? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I don't know that I'll ever fantasize about being on an airplane. That you might be on your own there, but I guess what I'm most looking forward to is just being out and I feel like when I'm in an agency's office and I'm visiting with agents and the different designers, I think when you're talking about one thing and then the opportunity for another project or design comes up kind of organically, that's what I think I'm missing the most. Where just being in the agent's office, talking casually about different business going on, and sitting with designers or eating lunch or dinner, and no, wait, you do this? Yeah, we do that, and then having those kind of things kind of pop up where we can create a solution for someone. That's probably the one thing I think out of all this that you can't really fix so much with video chat and things like that. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't miss the airplanes. I love having my own bed. This is the longest I've been home for years in my own bed consistently. So that's nice. I guess that's it. And it's going to be interesting. I normally have been to a Yankees game or two by now, and that's we don't know when that's going to come back either.
Anyway, to get back to the important part of all this, I can talk a little more about geology, but no, I'm kidding. I'll let you go. Thank you so much, Maria, for giving us your time and your insight. It's been really interesting, and I hope you actually get to go home to your own room soon.
Fingers crossed. And yes, thank you guys. Thank you so much. This was very fun.
Thanks, Maria. I really appreciate your time.
No worries.